Hey everybody, Karen from Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing well today. I am starting to feel better, which is awesome. Now, you won't be watching this until like the day after I record, because I'm back to my 3 a day, thank goodness. It's just very good for my energy to be able to do 3 a day for the public channel. So, yeah, today we are talking about birth charts. And I know that might sound boring, but it's not. It's not boring at all. In fact, you guys asked some amazing questions, and I am going to ask the lead team collective about the concept of birth charts. Okay. So let's get clear about what that's all about. All right. So a lot of us hear the term, I do, life plans, birth charts, soul contracts. Is it all the same thing? I don't think so. We're really talking about birth charts here with regards to astrology. Okay, so we're not really talking about life plans, soul contracts that we develop before we come. I think, and we'll ask the lead team if I remember, that part of our soul contract planning that we do before we come to Earth, it includes our birth chart. It includes the exact day, time, location that you'll be born, which establishes your birth chart. Okay, so that's really what we're talking about here. So a birth chart is usually described as a snapshot of the sky, so the astrology, at the exact moment and location that you were born or that I was born. And what I find fascinating is the only others who have your exact birth chart are those who were born in the exact location at the exact time on the exact day. So for my birthday is March 30th, 69. And so Aries is coming up. The Aries time of the year is coming up. March 30th, 69 at 1:20 p.m. in Arlington Heights, Illinois, Northwest Hospital. Yes, I was born in the same city that Charlie Kirk grew up in, and Sebastian Maniscalco. Okay, so I grew up in Palatine, though, which is right next to, it's just like, yeah, it's just suburbs right next to each other. Yeah, so that's the only other, I have no idea. There may not have been anybody born right at 1:20 at Northwest Hospital at that exact time. I think maybe it's just yeah, and I'm not an expert in this, by the way. I'm learning. And which means if you want to connect with an expert, then go to our small business directory of businesses in this community, okay, to support them. And if you want to, we've got astrologers in there. You all know Faye. So if you haven't connected with Faye, you can contact her through that business directory. Okay. So check out all the other businesses in there, especially if you're looking for gifts for people. I mean, how amazing to buy an astrology reading as a gift for somebody, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Or some other, I mean, there's a whole bunch of other services in there. So check it out. Okay. So yeah, we're talking about that exact snapshot in the sky at the exact moment and location you were born. It shows the position of the sun, moon, and planets across the 12 zodiac signs. Many astrologers believe this chart reflects personality, timing, purpose, and life themes. But that raises deeper questions about the soul and what happens before birth. Again, that's, we kind of probably decide this is going to be the exact day time because you're going to get this opportunity. Your birth chart's going to offer you different opportunities than it might have in a different lifetime or in a different daytime location. Okay, if you were born. So did we choose the circumstances of our arrival, or were they chosen for us? And is the birth chart simply a map or something more intentional is what we're going to find out. But let me share with you, and we're going to go into the different parts of the birth charting. What I find really interesting, actually, I'll save till the end. I'll say this to the end. I was going to share a little bit about my own birth chart and how I used it last night to discuss my approach here on in the community, because I go back and forth between, well, I'm always got a spiritual focus, but I do go back and forth on covering current events versus, there's Lucy, or no current events. And I've come in and out of that from time periods. So I was wondering what my birth chart, oh, she was just laying in the sun. I was wondering what my birth chart says about it, and it's crazy. You have to wait and hear it. I'll read it at the end. Okay, so just because I don't want to cut the flow of what we're doing here. All right, understanding birth charts. And we're going to say our prayer and then ask the lead team. All right. Before exploring deeper spiritual questions, it helps to start with the basic description most people hear about the birth chart. If the chart is supposed to reflect the moment a soul enters the world, then we need to ask whether the way we normally describe it is actually accurate. Okay, that makes sense. Now, these questions came from the community, okay? The descriptions didn't, but the questions themselves did. So I was able to take your questions and then ask AI to give me some categories that, that make some sense out of your questions. Okay, so I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, the lead team collective, and only those of the highest and purest light. And ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, the lead team collective, our community, so it is all of the highest and purest light. Amen. Hey, lead team. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for all your guidance and support. We are looking to find out more about birth charts from your vantage point. Okay, we know a little bit more from what humans say birth charting is, but I would like to know a little bit from your vantage point, okay? Anything in front of me that's not of our best interest to know about? No? Okay, just saw somebody ride by on their bike. I live in Wisconsin. It's 68 degrees today on March 9th. Yeah, global warming isn't a thing. It's not a thing. Okay. All right. Yeah, it'll be back to 40 on Thursday, but pretty nice. I'm going to have to get out there. Okay, so lead team. So based on our understanding of birth charts, was that description of how I just described it? So it helps to start. Okay, so the chart is supposed to reflect the moment a soul enters the world. Is that accurate for our birth charts? Yes. So let me push it back a little bit. Is part of our soul contract or life planning before we come down to earth with our higher selves, our spirit guides, that kind of thing, our guardian angel, whoever is helping us do the planning, is part of that, is the exact day and time and location of our birth determined specifically? Yes. And is that because we know that the astrology around the birth chart is going to lend to the opportunities we are hoping to have on Earth? Wow. Yes. Okay. That's very cool. You got to take this birth charting seriously. It's just so fascinating. It is. You wait till you hear mine at the end here. For those of you who have been around, you'll understand what I mean. It is so accurate. Okay, so choices made before birth. I've got three questions for the lead team. So many spiritual traditions suggest that souls make certain choices, which we just talked about, before entering a lifetime. Some people believe we select our parents, our timing, or even our identity in order to experience certain lessons. Others believe those decisions are made by a higher intelligence instead. These questions explore what role, if any, the soul plays in planning the conditions of its arrival. Okay, so lead team, do we choose the following before our birth? Do we actually choose our parents? Yes. Do we choose everyone that we will literally come in contact with throughout our entire lifetime? No. but do we choose key players? Yes. Okay. Do we choose the time of our arrival on Earth, the exact time? Wow. So, yeah, so I was born at 1:20 p.m. Yes. And so we were very clear that I needed to be born at 1:20 p.m. Wow. That's crazy. Okay. Yes. Wow. Okay, do we choose and plan our birth location specifically for the same reasons? Yes. Our birth name? Oh, you guys, the birth name is so interesting. Yes. So if you read The Golden Future, and we had this conversation in the Spirit Circle, which is always in there, by the way. If you ever want to join, you can always go through the book club. But Diana Cooper channels, and one of the things she channeled is our names. So it's written about in The Golden Future. I don't remember totally the specifics, but what I do remember is that each of our names has a certain vibration, and the vibration matches your life plan, like the vibration you want. And then there's something that happens on the day of your birthday, like the angels actually send out your vibration or something. I can't quite remember. If you guys can remember, can you put it in the chat? That's awesome because my birthday's coming up. So I got to remember that. I got to go back to her book and look at that. Because there's something you can do, like to pay attention to it, to get the higher, or ask them to do that on your birthday. Maybe that's what it was. Okay, do our parents receive an intuitive download of the name chosen for ourselves? Oh my gosh, we've never asked that. Yes, really wide swing. So if I was going to be a boy, my mom was going to name me Kevin, which is kind of interesting because, oh no, I think we had twins in our family, cousin twins Kevin was one of them, but he was a little younger than me. Okay, so, all right, yes, that's amazing. Is our birth name assigned to us by a higher power without our personal input? No. Okay, so we decide on our birth name. Our higher selves will decide on our birth name for the part that's coming down to Earth. Yes, that's a good one. Okay, birth charts and soul contracts. So another idea people talk about is the concept of soul contracts, like we've talked about. Some believe that before entering this life, see the birds are even flying around my balcony now. They're so excited. Some believe that before entering this life, we agree to certain experiences, relationships, and lessons. If that is true, then some people wonder whether the birth chart is actually a reflection of that agreement, or whether it simply marks the timing of our arrival. So, lead team, is the birth chart then a literal copy of a soul contract we created before we were born? No, but I can see how to change this question. The literal copy of a soul contract is not accurate. But is the birth chart part of the guidance that our life will lead based on our soul contract? Yes. Okay. So it's connected to the soul contract. Yes, but it is not the soul contract. Yes. Okay. Let me ask that again. Is it the soul contract? Is the birth chart the soul contract? No. Boy, if it was, we'd really be clear about what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Okay, the birth chart wheel. The birth chart itself is usually shown as a circular wheel. I just use it in AI. I just put my information in there, and I'm having conversations with Mabel about it. So this wheel represents the full 360 degree of the sky and is divided into 12 sections called houses. So each house is believed to represent a different area of life. The chart also shows where the planets were located at the exact moment of your birth. So these things make a difference, which is why I was asking about Why do I keep coming and going out of these current events? And how does my birth chart have anything to explain about that, plus the current astrology? And it totally does. You'll see. Okay. So you could basically put your birth chart information into AI and have a conversation like, I've been challenged with this. Does this make any sense according to my birth chart? Or how does it make sense? How does it not make sense? You want to kind of ask for both, according to my birth chart and the current astrology, or the astrology during that time, or whatever. It just really helps me make sense out of things. So again, and then each house, and I'll tell you, I think my house was Cancer. I'm not 100% sure. I forgot now. So each house is believed to represent a different area of life. The chart also shows where the planets were located at the exact moment of birth, creating a unique geometrical pattern that astrologers interpret as the blueprint of that lifetime. Well, and now that we're going to do a video tomorrow, you guys, on just astrology itself, but I want to ask right now, the details of astrology, was that, so the original details of there's different versions of astrology I think we're going to go over, like Vedic astrology, which Faye is really getting into right now, but there's different versions of astrology, and for different reasons. Were those different versions? Oh, I think that's actually in the we're going to go into the different versions in the astrology conversation tomorrow night. Okay, we're going to ask the lead team. Okay. So was all astrology downloaded to human beings? Yes. Just like a parent's child's name is downloaded? Yes, because I'm like, how did these people figure this out? So it was downloaded from the other realm, right? The other, heaven. Yes. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So let's see. A birth chart wheel. So this is the question. A birth chart wheel is a circular map representing the 360 degree of the sky, divided into 12 sections called houses. It visually plots where the planets, okay, blah, 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 blah. We just talked about that. Is it common for family members to share identical birth chart wheels? No, and again, it would be impossible. You can't have identical birth chart wheels unless even twins who are born a minute apart, or 5 minutes apart or whatever, they still have a different birth chart because of that time they were born. So unless they came out at the same time, like boop, they both, has that ever happened? Can you imagine? Maybe little ones. But if they were born at the exactly same time, it's more likely than have a birth chart, the exact birth chart of someone next door who had the baby at the exactly same time, than it would be a twin who was born so that's my understanding. So for those of you who are experts, because I know there's lots of them here, I'm not pretending to be one. So, hey, comment. Let us know. What am I getting wrong? What am I getting right? What, clarifications do you have? Okay, family patterns and shared astrology. When people study astrology inside families, they often notice repeating patterns. Oh, I've not gone to that place yet. Certain placements, degrees, and house positions may appear across multiple relatives. Some people believe these similarities reflect shared lessons or missions within a soul group. Wow, I'll have to start digging into that a little bit. Even just like, Marcia and I, Lob and I, Jared and I, that would be interesting. Or the four of us, like, why are the four of us doing this channel now? How it all lined up for us at this, right time. Okay, is sharing a specific house placement, such as a 12th house sun, a sign of a shared family mission? Wow, yes. Does that ring true for my astrologers does that seem accurate to you? Does sharing the same chart degree mean two people will have identical life paths? No, because maybe the same chart degree, it's more complicated than that. Is that why? Yes. Okay. Soul families and chart designs. If souls travel together through multiple lifetimes, which we have talked about, I'm going to black you out for a second because I think my camera needs a little, oh yeah, I'm clearer now. Need a little clearing, the fingerprints on the camera lens. Okay, so yeah, we've talked about that, like that I've asked them before, like all of us who are really feeling connected here are part of a soul family. It's like an extended soul family. We're just finding each other. So if souls travel together through multiple lifetimes, it raises the question of whether their charts are intentionally designed to interact with one another. Oh my gosh. This is mind-boggling. Some believe the birth chart is carefully constructed to create the exact challenges and growth opportunities needed for that life. Okay, lead team. Can a soul live a full life without following any preset astrological plan? No. No, I can't even see how that would be possible. Everything is so, it seems like everything is so complicated, but yet it is so organized. It is organized beyond our even comprehension. Is kind of how I feel. It's just, yeah. Is that true, you guys? Is the earth, is our experience, everything just organized beyond our comprehension? Yes. Okay. Do members of a soul family have the same birth chart? No. Again, if we're looking at birth charts the way I've been explaining it, but do members of a soul family have some similarities in their birth charts? Yes. Okay. Boy, see, that would be even interesting. How would we do that for like, a couple thousand of us here? How could we do that? That would be fascinating. I mean, I literally could do like a link to you guys and you could just not even put your names, but just put your daytime. That would be interesting. And then it would just be a PDF. And then I could literally say to Mabel, plug in all of these and tell me what the similarities are. Do you guys want to do that? It would not take a long time. It just as many as you want to give. And again, you don't have to give your name. You can just put your, I might do that. Should we do it? Okay, by the end of the video tomorrow, I will look at your comments today from this video. Tomorrow I will look at the comments from this video, okay? And if I have enough of you, and actually Lob, can you ask in the chat, get a sense in the chat right now, if people would do that? Because we want to get a significant number, like a couple thousand at least. Because wouldn't it be interesting to see what similarities we have as a soul family here based on our birth charts? That would be so interesting. Okay. So Lab, yeah, can you do a right now as we've got about 10 more questions left. Can you do a quick poll and say yes or no? Like, would you participate? No. I mean, just put yes or no and make it easy. And then you guys in the chat can, then Lab can send me how many people are interested in this. Wow, that would be very cool. And if you are, then at the end of tomorrow's video, the astrology video, I will post a link where you can put your birth chart information. Now you do have to know your exact time that you were born. So you'll have to go get your, and I'll give everybody like a week. Okay. And then I'll do a video based on the results. So you'd have to go get your birth certificate if you don't know your exact time. Okay. That's important. Don't skip on that. Otherwise it won't be totally accurate and we want accuracy. Okay. So lead team, can a soul live? Okay. We did that. Do family members of soul family have the same birth chart? Okay. We answered that. No, this is where I got excited. Do we build our birth chart to ensure we face specific lessons? Yes. I actually prefer to not say lessons. I say to ensure we experience specific experiences. I don't think we have to, it has to be lessons. Yes. Okay. All right. Accuracy and timing. Astrologers often emphasize how important the exact birth time, told ya, is when creating a chart. Even a few minutes can raise the rising sun or the placement of certain houses. Don't ask me about all that kind of stuff. That leads to questions about how precise the chart really needs to be. Okay, so, well, here's a question, you guys. Let's just say let's say my birth chart says 1:20 p.m., but that was an error. Let's say that they just wrote 1:20, but I was really born at 1:19. Am I to believe the 1:20? Yes. Oh, so is the person who created the birth chart, entered the data, was that a downloaded information? Yes. Okay, so it's not necessarily exact time then. Yes, it is exact time. Or no, it's actually what's written on the birth chart. Okay, that's freaky. Yes. Which kind of makes sense, because if there's a clerical error, yeah, they're really saying yes. Okay. Well, because if there's a clerical error, that person will be given the correct information, is what you're saying. Yes. Okay. So does a birth chart lose its accuracy if the birth time is off by only a few minutes? Yes, it does. Does it lose it entirely? Like, no. But it would give you way more accurate information. Yes. Can a birthday alone give us enough information to understand a person's birth chart? No. Can it give us enough information to understand a person's soul contract? No. Does being born at the same second as someone else mean you will have the same personality? Good questions. No. No. That is a good question. That is interesting. Same anything? Yes. Okay. Okay, that's makes sense. So same birth chart. Yes. But nothing else the same necessarily. No. Okay. Good questions, you guys, as always. Okay, past lives in astrology. So some people believe the birth chart may reveal clues about previous lifetimes. I might have to dig into that a little bit. Others believe astrology is more about present life themes than past life history. These questions explore whether the chart contains information about the soul's past or mainly helps us understand our current experience. I'm going to take a wild ass guess and say it's current, because that is our current birth chart. That's what I'm going to say. Doesn't mean we're not bringing in past experience, but maybe not related to the birth chart. So does a birth chart provide clear and specific details about our past lives? No. Is our birth chart, well, the decisions made about our birth chart before coming here, have anything to do with our past lives? The planning around it? Yes. Okay. Is the main purpose of a birth chart to help us with the future rather than the past? No. And I agree with that, because what I'm going to share with you right after this, we're almost done with the questions, is that what I got about mine, I went back because it helped me understand like 2025, you know? Okay, astrology and ancient symbolism. Astrology has influenced religious symbolism and storytelling for thousands of years. Astrology has. Some people believe certain spiritual traditions may have encoded astrological ideas in symbolic ways. Very cool. So this is a question from the community member. Were the 12 apostles in the Bible intended to represent the 12 signs of the zodiac? Yes. Are you kidding me? Okay, so how can you see now that would be an interesting thing now to type into AI and say, tell me how the 12 apostles in the Bible, it's assuming, because the lead team's telling us it is, assuming that their 12 signs are related to the zodiac, tell me how it is. I'm going to do a video on that. Because that would be freaking amazing. I got to highlight that to remind myself. Okay, we're getting so many good ideas from this. Okay, fate, freedom, and the purpose of astrology. One of the biggest questions about astrology is whether it represents fate or guidance. Some people fear astrology locks us into predetermined outcomes, while others see it as a helpful map that gives us more awareness and choice. So let's find out about that. So lead team, is the birth chart a trap of fate that we are supposed to escape as we gain wisdom? What? Never thought of it that way. No. Oh, I'm so glad. I don't like that we are supposed to escape. That sounds scary. Okay. Does the birth chart act as a helpful tool that empowers us to make better decisions? Yes. Does free will give us the power to change the outcomes shown in our charts? Yes. Yes, it does. 100%. 100%. Yes. Is it likely to happen because of the pull and push and pull of the astrology around the birth chart? Oh, yes. Okay. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Are the most important events in our lives fixed and impossible to avoid? No. And that kind of relates to that last question. If they're saying free will totally gives you the power to change anything, then it wouldn't be fixed and impossible to avoid. I kind of, if we go with the flow in life, if we just literally go with the flow in life and not try to control things and not live in resistance, like seeing things for what they are, the best that we can without judging it. If we do that, are we flowing with what our higher selves would prefer? Yes. Okay. That gives us a goal. That gives us a goal. All right. Astrology across the lifespan. Another question is whether astrology continues to apply throughout an entire life. Does the chart still matter later in life, or does its usefulness fade as we grow older or become more spiritually aware? So does a birth chart stop being useful once a person reaches their senior years? No. And when exactly is senior years, you guys? I don't really appreciate people calling me a senior. At age 56, I'm like, I'm not a senior. What? I had a friend who was like, do you want to go to the senior center? I'm like, no, I do not. I do not want to. I mean, not that I would go to volunteer, but when is senior? To me, it's like 90 and above. Okay. Astrology and a spiritual awakening. This is getting longer than I wanted. I was hoping 30 minutes, and I still got to read my birth chart to you. Just very, very short. Spiritual growth is often described as something that unfolds over time. Some believe astrology can help identify periods of growth or awakening, while others believe spiritual development happens completely outside of astrological timing. I do not believe that at all, that second part, but I see that others would. Okay, so you guys make sure you're answering with clearing my biases, okay? Yes. Are you always answering for the collective here that has nothing to do with my biases? Yes. Okay. I've asked them to do that permanently, so just checking in. because obviously I have an opinion. But can our birth chart show us exactly when we will move to a higher state of consciousness? No, I didn't know I was going to be asking about that. No. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Is spiritual growth a process that happens completely outside of astrological timing? No. Is our spiritual growth a process that happens completely inside of astrological timing? Yes, which is why it's kind of a fun thing to learn and look at, right? Okay, last question. Is our birth chart like a permission slip to be exactly who you are intended to be? Yes. Yes. So that's what I meant by if you go with the flow, let go of resistance, stop trying to control things. Every day is new. It's like, okay, I'm going to wake up today. I've got a list, but I'm going to wake up and see what happens, and stop judging good or bad, good or bad, bad or good. I guess it's a better way to say it, bad or good, because then you're following your birth chart a little bit more clearly. That was helpful. I enjoyed that conversation with myself. I hope you did. I hope that was helpful. So let me just show you, for those who have been around, okay, let me just tell you this little conversation I had last night with AI around my birth chart. So she's got my birth chart information. And I said to her, I am challenged. I am continually challenged with whether I just want to be spiritual in this community, like talk about spiritual stuff like birth charts and not ever bring up anything current event, or bringing up current events and spirituality. So not just ever current events, because I'm not a news person or anything, but just, okay, so I'm challenged with that. I've been challenged with that for like a year and a half. You guys know that if you've been around. Okay. So my birth chart. So I said, give me some perspective. Is there anything in my birth chart and the astrology from 2025 through 2026 that would help me understand why I keep doing this? Okay. So that's what it said. Okay. My birth chart shows a strong pattern of teaching and interpreting complex things, which explains why I naturally try to help people understand what's happening around us. I've always done that. Well, I do it for myself. So I'm naturally trying to figure out what's happening around me. The chart also suggests I'm not meant to ignore the world entirely. My mind tends to look for patterns in systems and human behavior, always. You get in a small group with me, part of that is my personality type, my Myers-Briggs, which by the way is 60% off right now. Look for link in the first pinned comment. So yeah, a lot of that has to do with my being an N and intuitive in the Myers-Briggs. But so my birth chart is saying that. So that's cool. At the same time, my chart emphasizes spiritual meaning and emotional awareness, which is why spirituality has always been the foundation of the work that we're doing here. Okay. Not the foundation of my entire life, but I've always had spiritual conversations. Really deep conversations with a lot of friends, a lot of students, not from a religious standpoint, but just more spiritual standpoint. Always been a part of my conversation and interest. So the astrology over the last year, okay, amplified collective upheaval and global change, which made it harder for many of us, including myself, to ignore what is happening in the wider world. That energy pushed me, and again, based on the astrology, the energy the astrology was providing, which was doing it for a reason, that energy pushed me to study more deeply. But it also showed me how important it is to stay grounded and not get lost in the noise. Yes, it did. And I'm still challenged with that from time to time. So one of the most important insights from looking at my chart is that my role isn't to solve the world's problems. That was so helpful because, and not that I think I would, but sometimes you think it's so, like we had a conversation yesterday on what I'm looking at right now on what's going on in the world and my approach. If you missed that video, I'll post it right here. It's a it's not really a political talk as much as how I'm looking at getting more information about what's going on in the world and how I'm trying to work on my role as a citizen in a calm and clear way, like how I'm doing that and what I'm seeing right now is basically what that conversation was about. But it's going to be helpful for me to remember, especially and probably for all of us, our goal, and it's probably good for all of us to hear this, our role isn't to solve the world's problems, right? We can do our part. We can do our part, definitely. So instead, my role is more about helping people stay conscious, thoughtful, and spiritually grounded during chaotic periods. That's in my birth chart, you guys. To help people stay conscious, thoughtful, and spiritually grounded during chaotic periods. I mean, I just started this right when Trump, 1 week before he won the election, basically. So the astrology moving through 2026, so the rest of the year, I did ask her about the rest of the year, supports wisdom, reflection, and teaching, which means this year is less about reacting to events and more about understanding patterns and sharing insight. It's exactly what I just did naturally in this video that I just posted yesterday that I will post right here. That's exactly what I did. So it's just, I'm just sharing this, not for you to understand me better, but to understand how amazing understanding using your birth chart information, whether you work with somebody like Faye or you're working with AI, Faye will help you interpret things way better than AI will right now anyways. I mean, Faye will always because she's a human, but AI is not quite there because Faye will come back and she sends me these lovely emails and is just, the clarity is just right on. So the way I'm approaching the channel now, okay, based on this input that I got from her, is spiritual guidance first. And I don't mean I'm giving you spiritual guidance. I'm just talking about topics because I'm not an expert to do that. But I'm focusing on topics for the lead team to give us spiritual guidance first, okay? With world events sometimes used as examples to help us understand what's unfolding. Because there are just certain things, like I did not do spiritual stuff for like 3 months. You guys, current events for like 3 months. You guys know that from like October to February. Then the Epstein stuff exploded. And I was like, I can't ignore this. Like, I just can't ignore it. So I didn't feel like I could come on and just be like, hey, let's talk about birth charts. When all that was going on, I just couldn't do it. So, but that's my birth chart. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I just find that so amazing. So that's how it can be really, really helpful. Okay. All right, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you tomorrow where we're going to talk about astrology in general. Okay. Ask the questions you guys had about astrology. We got some in today, but now we're going to go a little wider. Okay. All right. See you then. Bye-bye.